Joining me now from our bureau in Washington, D.C., the sheriff of Frederick County, Charles Jenkins. Sheriff, you're not technically a border county, yet you call yourself a border county. Why is that? How do you quantify that?
Well, because I believe Frederick County, as every other county in the country, fully feels the effects of the lack of enforcement at the border and the interior. We see the flow of heroin, the flow of drugs, human trafficking, the cartels, crime, gang crime. It's all here. It infiltrates the entire country.
Now, you went to the White House just a 3 days ago, and you spoke to the president about this, and you mentioned specifically what you just mentioned now, and that is heroin. Is there a crisis of heroin in Frederick County right now, and how did it become that way, and what percentage of it do you think is a result of a wide open southern border?
Well, I believe, first of all, probably 90 to 95% of the heroin that we see nationwide, including Frederick County, comes through the southern border. This all started about 7 to 8 years ago. We started to see an influx of heroin in Frederick County that we had never seen in 2 decades. So, again, I think it goes to wide open borders, the easy accessibility of the border counties to the cartel, the drug kingpins, and so every county becomes a border county.
But in the end, these drugs don't come in some sort of isolation booth, right? The drug cartels,
no, they don't.
The gangs come along with the drugs, do they not?
That's correct. We've seen an influx at the same time. MS-13, 18th Street, the Latin Kings, other Mexican cartel gang affiliations, they've all come to Frederick County. As a matter of fact, Central Maryland, Montgomery County, Prince George's, and Frederick County have become major destinations for gangs.
Did you ever think that an interior county like this in the great state of Maryland would become a haven not only for drugs, but for gangs that are from south of the border?
I don't think any American county ever saw this coming. You know, we certainly here on the East Coast never thought this, but again, I talked to other sheriffs nationwide who they never thought this either. You know, we have all become, for lack of enforcement efforts, border counties, and I hope Americans realize this.
Now, you went to the White House as part of the ceremony of the president when he vetoed the legislation that was trying to block his emergency order at the border. And under the declaration of an emergency at the border, the president is now using funds that were originally designated for the United States military. He's using Pentagon funds in another way. We have a list that came out, Sheriff, some of the things that will not be funded because the president is repurposing this money, if you will. Some of the things not being funded: command and control facility and a drone hangar in South Korea, a special operations training facility in Estonia, a mission training complex in Germany, and a little bit closer to home, a Joint Reserve Intelligence Center in Louisiana. I think we can live with all that. I think we both can stipulate that we can probably live without those things being built, and that we have to come to grips with what is the priority in this nation. Do we want to have this facility in Estonia, or do we want to have a secure border so we don't have these drugs flowing across?
I agree. Absolutely, President Trump made the absolute right decision in doing this, because we are at a turning point in this country that we better soon realize we've lost our borders and we won't soon be a country anymore. So I agree with President Bush. Many of America's sheriffs agree, and that's why I was at the White House last week to support that. Yet
in Maryland, you have great pushback in certain pockets of it. In terms of law enforcement and municipalities welcoming sanctuaries. Baltimore is a sanctuary city. Rockville is sanctuary. Montgomery County, a sanctuary. Does this tend, Sheriff, to polarize law enforcement and politicize law enforcement when certain aspects of your state and certain counties of your state act as sanctuaries and certain counties act lawfully?
It doesn't really polarize law enforcement, because where the boots are on the ground, law enforcement agrees something needs to be done, should be done. What it's done is been a polarization of politics in Maryland. As a matter of fact, right now I'm fighting hard against sanctuary state legislation that's going to impact the entire state. And as a matter of fact, if it passes, and it may, I'm really concerned about it, it will totally gut my 287G program in Frederick County, which is where we partner with ICE to remove criminals.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.